Hey, nonprofit visionaries. It is Shalita, the nonprofit Easter O'Neill, with a video to talk about dealing with betrayal. Ooh, dun dun dun. From your leadership employees or your leadership staff, your team members, and leadership. Now, this video is really geared towards those nonprofit executives or nonprofit founders who have been running their organization for a while, and they actually have staff and have key staff in place. So whether you have, a COO, chief operating officer, chief financial officer, whatever the case may be, but you have some high ranking individuals in your organization, you're going to deal with betrayal. Okay, what do I mean by that? I come from, again, I tell you, whatever I share, the different topics that I think about sharing with you all is based off of things that I've actually gone through and I've experienced. And I want to be able to share those things with you in hopes that if you should experience them, that you'll have some tools in your toolbox to be able to deal with it efficiently. Because maybe at the time I didn't, and I've learned in hindsight it's 2020, and I want to make sure that you have that information as well. So a couple of different ways, and I've got my notes here. I just want to say it's inevitable at some point. And whether you could be just starting your nonprofit organization, it could still be smaller or small or fledgling. You're just starting out and you are recruiting people from your friends. It happens a lot. Initially, when you're starting your organization, the people you go to share about your nonprofit vision and dream tend to be the people that are closest to you. They're your friends, your family, and you want to bring them in and have them be a part of your vision quite naturally. Well, understand that when you do that with anybody, whether they're your friends or family or not, but when you're bringing people into your vision, things may go awry at some point. Just prepare for that. Communication, miscommunication, things happen, situations change, people go through things, and heads butt, and you may butt heads with people that are in your organization at the leadership level and people who you have entrusted as a nonprofit executive, nonprofit founder with your vision. And I just want to give you a couple of little tidbits on how to deal or to avoid those situations. First and foremost, communication is key. Okay? A lot of times we feel like, especially when we bring people that we are very comfortable with into the organization, we feel that communication, if they're saying that everything is fine and, you're comfortable in the role that you have established for this person or what they've been doing, but you don't quite check in often. You don't hold them accountable. That's the next thing, is accountability. You don't hold them accountable for the different roles or tasks or activities that you ask them to do. It's really just, okay, well, you're not really into managing people. You came into this because you want to create something in the world that hasn't been there. You want to provide the services. You want to kiss the babies, okay? You want to get out there and do the work. This whole operational managing people thing just wasn't something that you really thought you wanted to do or would have to do. And maybe that's not something that's a strength of yours, right? It comes with the territory. And so when sometimes we take things on a very surface level. And I can say, again, inserting my personal experience with this, one of my things that I had to also learn, whether it was from the board at some point, because I had a couple of different boards, as people transition off. But initially, it's your friends. And I advise against that because although your friends love and care about you and really want to support you, your vision may not be their vision. And so the communication around what you need and your expectations may not fit in with what they're willing to provide. And it's the same with your leadership team. When you're bringing people on and you're hiring and recruitment, sometimes you may not be as clear about your vision or your expectations of them as you should be. And then if you are, you don't necessarily follow through and hold not just them, but hold yourself accountable for what they're supposed to be doing. And I know for me, the third thing, boundaries, right? Setting boundaries, because I like everyone to feel comfortable. I was the type of leader that, and I still am, that I don't, if I bring you on and I trust in your talents and skills, I am not going to micromanage you. Some people need micromanaging. And even if you're not micromanaging them, they still need to be held accountable for the set of expectations that you have for them and their role. And those expectations need to be clear. But you also need to set your boundaries. Sometimes when you're working alongside of someone, especially on your leadership team, you get a little comfortable. The lines of personal and professional blur as far as, okay, well, going to people's birthday parties and doing all kinds of stuff. And not to say that you can't do that, but you also have to set a certain boundary and expectation that, listen, because I'm a firm believer that where you are one place is where you are every place, right? It's just not about, there's etiquette and things that you exercise and you put in place when you're in the professional world and when you're in the workplace. Yes, of course, but you're still the same person. So, not to be rigid and mean, if that's your personality, to be welcoming and to, embrace people and to care about their personal life, which you should, because they're people, they're humans bringing their talents and skills to your organization, but at the same token, you want to make sure you set your boundaries. You want to make sure that when it comes to the professional piece, you're not calling them after a certain hour. You're not, the interactions that you have with them do not create a space of lax or comfort in being lackadaisical or being, okay, well, that she's my friend. So even though she's the executive director, I don't have to do this because, we was chatting on the phone till 11 o'clock at night just about life. And, set your boundaries on what you expect. Okay. And also your expectations. First and foremost, be very clear about the roles that you are recruiting people for and what you're expecting them to do. Hold them accountable. I recommend outcomes-based performance evaluations and also role descriptions. So when people come on board, they know, okay, this is the expectation. I'm coming on as the CFO. One of the expectations is that I help to engage, or I bring in 3 new funders into the organization in the next year. You have to put very concrete, clear, tangible, outcomes-based, expectations into role descriptions, because that way you have a way to hold people accountable and they themselves know what they're being held accountable for. Look, as much as people pretend that they don't like it, people like to be held accountable, or to at least know what they're being held accountable for. So if you want to avoid having, or some things to put in place to help you avoid betrayal, when we talk about betrayal, oh, this person just quit on me, didn't tell me anything, didn't, oh my gosh, like they went and they took all the files and they went someplace else. And, sometimes people are just trifling. People are trifling, and sometimes they'll tell you, especially in recruitment, when you're interviewing, you're hiring people, they will tell you what you want to hear. But there are some things that you can put in place to help avoid that. The first thing is to be clear and set expectations, outcomes-based expectations around their role. Second thing, set boundaries. It's okay to be cordial. It's okay to care about the people who work for you and work with you, because they're human, you're human. But set those boundaries. If you again, times you're calling people at night for work, or that it's not work related, but you feel comfortable with them and they become like your best friend, and you start talking about your personal life and everything that's going on there, and it's inappropriate. Even though we feel inclined to do it because we want to connect, because we're humans. But when you're talking about your leadership and those that are working with you, you have to set very clear boundaries and draw the line on things where, okay, this is someone who's working with me and who I may not necessarily be close to or be interacting with outside of work if it wasn't for this environment. So make sure that you are setting your boundaries. And holding, and I'm going to go back to my notes, holding people accountable, and then avoid hiring friends, okay, and family members. I know, Auntie Joan has been super supportive of you, She's been at every fundraising event, at manning the tables, setting up registration, helping you collect the money. I know. But do not hire her to work for you, because then you introduce another set of circumstances that can complicate your relationship. The moment you need to either reprimand Auntie Joan, or the moment where you need to hold her accountable for something that she said that she would do, or that you both agreed that she would do, then here comes the auntie relationship, the leverage that comes in. Wait a minute, I changed your diapers. Wait a minute, I did this for you when you was running around outside and bumped your head on the wall. No, okay, not this. You do what you want because it's your organization, but I'm just telling you lessons and things about, that I have encountered. I didn't hire my auntie, but I on the board initially, I had friends and they didn't necessarily follow through what they said they were going to do, because they were my friend, and they're like, Shalita, I know you as my friend. Like, okay, what are you going to do? I don't care about this like you do. Okay, so those are the biggest things, and I hope that was helpful. Understand this, my message to you. People are going to betray you. People are going to do things that are going to make you unhappy. What I want you to understand is it's not necessarily about what they do, but it's about how you react to what they do. And it's about trying to do the best that you can do to avoid those sorts of situations by setting boundaries, by being clear on your expectations, by holding them accountable, by avoiding having friends and family, hiring them and changing that relationship or that dynamic in that way. You can put those things in place, but you're still going to have people and hire people that are going to, in what we call, betray you, because this is your organization. And a betrayal could look like many different things. It could be, they quit on you and didn't tell you, or they weren't doing work that you said that, that they said that they were doing, or that they stabbed you in the back with something, some gossip or whatever as it pertains to your job. And even outside of work, it may happen. It's going to happen in one way, shape, or form. But look at it as, it's a learning lesson learned. And it's an opportunity for you to look at how you are leading and the example that you're setting. I had to do that for myself. I was not holding my people accountable. If they told me that they were doing something, and as long as there wasn't any negative, things that came from it, or that, nothing went wrong, or there wasn't a red flag that went up that needed my attention, I did not pay attention. I was about the business of doing the work and not managing my people. And it got to a point where some people felt comfortable in doing things that were unethical at some times because they felt they weren't being watched, or they felt that they could get away with it. And in some cases, I couldn't avoid that. Unethical people are going to be unethical people. People who are trying to get over are going to be people who are trying to get over. And you may pick up on it. You may not pick up on it. Do not beat yourself up about it. Just learn that, hey, what is this telling me about me and my leadership style? And what I learned from it and what I'm sharing with you is the accountability, the setting of the boundaries, okay, the performance evaluations, making sure that you are clear on what you are seeing and what needs to be improved and what they're doing right and what they're doing great, and being open to receiving that feedback on what you might need to improve on, what they need from you in order for them to perform their best. Okay, so it's all right. It's not the end of the world. It's a lesson learned. You keep it moving, but then you also shift yourself and turn the mirror and the camera on yourself to see what are some opportunities for you to grow as a leader, so that you don't make the same mistakes in choosing people as you did before. Okay? Brush your shoulders off. It's going to be okay. Keep it moving. If you need additional support, again, ShalitaO'Neal.com. I'll be making a couple of more videos just about, more geared towards those nonprofit executives or nonprofit founders who have been doing the work and running their organizations for a minute, and you start to morph into different stages of your growth. And so these are the types of things, that you have to start looking at and getting some feedback and some support around, your leadership team. And also when you encounter financial issues, because you will encounter financial issues, it's just a part of the job. How do you rebound from that? That'll be another video that I do. So please subscribe, share, like if you found this helpful. If you need some additional feedback, or if there's some questions that you have, drop them below. You need some one-on-one time with me, again, ShalitaO'Neal.com. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions, or even come out and speak to your leadership team, or even come out and speak to your board, help you, hold your hand, hand in hand through any issues or the process that you're in right now. Until next time, be blessed, and don't worry about the haters, okay? Haters gonna hate. You keep doing your work. I believe in you. See you next time.